Hello everyone, this is the Vortex Chicken, and welcome back to Explosive Bunnies. So, I did have some stuff recorded for Hardcore Episode 3, but I didn't think it was enough stuff to make a full video. So, I'm doing something else for this week's video instead, which is a Terraria boss's difficulty tier list. So as you can see, I am in the tier maker website, the real tier maker website. It may look like a Google Sheet, but that's not what it is. And I'll zoom this in so that you can see the tiers better. We have the S tier of difficulty, which is too hard. The A tier, which is hard. The B tier, which is moderately hard. Almost forgot my alphabet there. The C tier, which is easy. The D tier, which is Golem. And the F tier, which is F for free. If you don't know what any of this means, this is basically a boss that is too hard for someone who's bad at the game, like me. This is a boss that will probably take a few tries. This is a boss that might take a few tries and is just a good, fun fight. This is a boss that still could be fun, but if you don't beat it, you're bad at the game. This is Golem, and this is just a boss that you should quit at life if you lose to. So I have the Terraria wiki list of bosses, so I'm going to go in this order. Starting with King Slime. King Slime is free. Because if you make a platform arena, just one platform, and you have boots or a double jump or any way of being slightly faster than the normal character, and you just run in one direction, you can't get hit by King Slime. I don't see how anyone struggles with this boss. Moving on, the Eye of Cthulhu. I think I'm going to put Eye of Cthulhu in easy. Because normal mode Eye of Cthulhu, I could see being in Golem or free. But in expert and master mode, a lot of people, including me, have a tendency to just freak out when the Eye of Cthulhu starts its wacko mode. So to compensate for all of that, Eye of Cthulhu is going in easy instead of free. Eater of Worlds. It definitely could also go in free, but I think it's going to be sort of the same thing. It's much harder in Expert and Master, so Eater of Worlds, Eater of Wordles, is going into the easy column, row, same thing. Brain of Cthulhu. I mean, I don't want to be doing this for all the bosses, but pretty much the same. The Brain of Cthulhu is pretty much free in normal mode. In Expert and Master mode, if you don't know how to use the mini-map, you're toast. And then the main problem I find in Master mode especially is that when it teleports, and it teleports onto you, you just die instantly. Like, it deals so much damage that any one mistake can ruin the fight. So, let's hope that the next boss doesn't go in easy. Okay, Queen Bee. Queen Bee. Huh. Well, in normal mode, this boss would go in easy. But since everything is going in easy, and I think, like, Expert and Master Queen Bee are definitely harder. I'll put this in moderately hard. Okay. Next is Skeletron. Okay, Skeletron. I have never really found Skeletron hard. It's... When people say Skeletron is hard, it doesn't really register with me. Because even in Expert and Master mode, as long as you know the strategy, which is to kill the hands at pretty much the same time, and then go in a circle, you're pretty much fine. And then in normal mode, if you die against Skeletron, then you should just quit Terraria for your life. So I'm going to put Skeletron in easy. Meh. Deerclops. I would put Deerclops in moderately hard if it despawned. But if you haven't seen my video from 2 weeks ago, Deerclops does not despawn when you die. Which means that if you have time on your hands and you set your spawn point in the snow biome, then you can just keep chipping away with your wooden sword and kill the Deerclops pretty much instantly after starting the world and stuff. So, Deerclops is going in free. Not because the boss itself is super easy, but because if you have the time and you can stay in the area once you respawn, there's no way to lose to it. Next, Wall of Flesh. I'm going to put Wall of Flesh in moderately hard. Because I know I had pretty much no trouble with the Wall of Flesh in my Master Mode playthrough, but that was using a very specific sort of broken strategy, and that doesn't even always work. I think that normally the Wall of Flesh is a pretty good fight, especially in multiplayer, and once it starts speeding up, and I think to compensate for some of the fight being pretty easy, it's in the underworld, so if you don't know what you're doing, it's very easy to die. I think of all the bosses in Terraria, I have died to the Wall of Flesh by far the most. Especially in trying to do summon or no hits. Okay, next. Queen Slime. Oh, and I should mention that this is for, like, the time of game when you're fighting it. Because if it were just how hard the boss is with a certain gear loadout, then pretty much all the hard mode bosses would be up here and all the pre-hard mode bosses would be down here. I probably didn't need to clarify that. Queen Slime. I don't really have trouble with Queen Slime. I'm going to put her in easy. Next. The twins. The twins are challenging. I used to be pretty good at the twins. I mean, when I started out, I was terrible at the twins, but now I think I'm going between moderately hard and hard. I'm going to put the twins in moderately hard. The Destroyer. I'm going to put the Destroyer in moderately hard, because in normal mode, the Destroyer is a piece of cake. But in Master Mode, it deals sometimes 500 to 600 damage with its head. And everything is just hitting for so much. You can barely stand to take a couple hits. And it also is not as cheesable. So, by every metric, the Destroyer is actually really hard in Expert and Master Mode. So, I think moderately hard is a good place to put the boss overall. Skeletron Prime. I think Skeletron Prime should also go in moderately hard. I have not really had trouble ever with Skeletron Prime, but I could see how others would. especially if they don't take out the cannon. I'm gonna make this look nicer by doing this. Maybe that didn't make it look nicer. No one cares. Moving on. We got Plantera. In normal mode, I find Plantera ridiculously easy. And when I did it in master mode, I was actually kind of shocked that I was dying. I think the main problem with Plantera is actually that you have to fight it in the jungle, in the hard mode jungle. And I know that Plantera cancels out enemy spawns, but so many enemies spawn before you fight Plantera that when you're just staying in one place fighting her, it can just get too claustrophobic and stuff. So I'm going to put her in moderately hard. Next, Golem. Golem is Golem, so Golem goes in Golem. Duke Fishron. Duke Fishron. I'm putting Duke Fishron in hard. Because I know Duke Fishron is definitely beatable. But it's definitely a very challenging fight. Next, Empress of Light. Okay, that might go in too hard. I don't know. No, I think it's gonna go in hard. I don't know. Empress of Light is a very tough boss. I mean, maybe you guys have seen my video where I fought Empress of Light daytime 30 times. Spoilers, I did not win any of those fights, and it was in normal mode. I don't know if I've actually beaten Empress of Light in single player. I've definitely carried in multiplayer against Empress of Light, for 30 seconds, and that was one of my crowning Terraria achievements. I know that some people find Empress of Light rather easy, and obviously enough people have no-hit her that I don't think that warrants too hard. So I'll put her in hard. Lunatic Cultist is a boss that gives me trouble, and I don't know why. But, in theory, Lunatic Cultist is an easy boss. So Lunatic Cultist goes in easy. Next, Moonlord. Moonlord is my Achilles heel. I think it's the same thing with Master Mode Plantera. It's just too much stuff coming at you. And with Destroyer, same thing too. It just deals so much damage that you can't afford to get hit that many times. I understand that a lot of people find Moonlord rather easy. But the Moonlord is definitely the hardest boss in the game for me. As it should be, it's the final boss. But I'm putting Moonlord in too hard. Why don't I do event bosses too, because they're already here. Dark Mage is very, very easy. I'm put Dark Mage in easy. I'm gonna do that first. Really the only problem with Dark Mage is the other stuff. Like the dragon things. The Etherean Wyverns. Why couldn't I think of that? Ogre. Ogre is also rather easy. It's mainly the other stuff that makes it a problem. So actually, I guess that's kind of the point, so I'm gonna put it in moderately hard. Betsy. Betsy's pretty hard. Especially because of the other things. Flying Dutchman. You can sit in a box and shoot Jester's arrows. So, free. Morning Wood. Again, it's mainly the pumpkin stuff that makes it hard, but I don't think it's even that hard, especially in the earlier waves. You can just kill those off pretty fast, so Next, pumpkin. Pumpkin is actually a decent challenge. Everscream. Same as Morning Wood, just not really a challenge at all. Oh, Santa. Let's see. I'm gonna put Santa in easy because during the event you can usually kill at least one. Like, if you don't kill one during the event, you're bad at the game. Ice Queen is hard, especially because you're pressed for time, and there's so much other stuff that's dealing you damage. So I'm gonna put Ice Queen in hard. I mean, I already did. Martian Saucer, same thing. I mean, you're not pressed for time, but it is pretty hard. And then the pillars. The solar is definitely the hardest. Nebula is kind of hard, yeah. And then I'll put Vortex and Stardust here in easy. And I think that's it. So these are the final boss tiers. So the boss that I find too hard, Moonlord. The bosses that I find hard are Duke Fishron, Embers of Light, Betsy, Ice Queen, Martian Saucer, and the Solar Pillar. Moderately hard, Queen Bee, Wall of Flesh, the Twins, the Destroyer, Skeletron, Prime, Plantera, Ogre, Pumpkin, and the Nebula Pillar. Easy, Eye of Cthulhu, Eater of Worlds, Brain of Cthulhu, Skeletron, Queen Slime, Lunatic Cultist, Dark Mage, Morningwood, Everscream, Santa, and the Vortex and Stardust pillars. Golem is Golem, and the bosses that I think are free are King Slime, Deerclops, and the Flying Dutchman. If you disagree with me, which I know you do, don't be mean, but you can say where you think these bosses should go. And also, I don't know what the also is. So I will see you later, and bye.